Do you think Jesus would have chosen to be friends with my friend Charlie the Oakland 580 freeway killer, Charles Stevens? The name echoes in my mind, not as a notorious criminal, but as a ghost from a simpler time. A time when life was simpler, and the world seemed full of endless possibilities. I remember the first time I met Charles. We were just kids, barely old enough to understand the complexities of the world around us. But even then, there was something about him that stood out, something that made him different from the other kids in the neighborhood. I see a young boy with kind eyes and a shy smile. Those eyes, full of innocence and curiosity, seemed to hold a world of dreams and hopes. His smile, though reserved, had a warmth that could light up the darkest of days. It was a smile that promised friendship and trust. We grew up together in the same Oakland neighborhood in the 80s, his family's house just a few doors down from mine. Our neighborhood was a tapestry of diverse cultures and backgrounds, each family bringing their own unique flavor to the community. It was a place where everyone knew everyone, and the bonds we formed were unbreakable. Back then, Oakland had its struggles, but it was our community, a place where we felt safe, despite the challenges that surrounded us. The streets were our playground, and every corner held a memory. From the corner store where we bought our favorite candies to the park where we spent countless hours playing. We rode bikes down cracked sidewalks, played stickball under the warm California sun, and shared secrets whispered between sips of soda pop. Those were the days of endless summers where time seemed to stand still, and our biggest worry was getting home before the streetlights came on. Charles was always there, a quiet presence amongst the neighborhood kids. He was the kind of friend who didn't need to say much to be understood. His silence spoke volumes, and his presence was a comforting constant in our lives. He wasn't the loudest or the most outgoing, but there was a gentle kindness about him that drew people in. He had a way of making everyone feel special, of making you believe that you mattered. It was a rare quality, one that made him stand out in a crowd, never mean-spirited, never a bully. Charles was the kind of kid who would share his toys and stand up for someone being picked on. He had a strong sense of justice, even at a young age. He believed in doing what was right, no matter the cost. It was a trait that earned him the respect and admiration of everyone who knew him. Looking back, it's hard to reconcile those memories with the man the world would come to know, the man who would become a symbol of fear and tragedy. It's a stark contrast, one that leaves me grappling with a whirlwind of emotions. How did the boy I once knew become the man who would haunt the nightmares of so many? The man who terrorized a freeway, leaving a trail of fear and heartbreak in his wake. The once quiet and kind Charles Stevens had transformed into a figure of dread, a name that would be etched in infamy. The freeway, once a symbol of freedom and movement, had become a place of terror and uncertainty. The man they called the I-580 sniper, a name that would forever be associated with pain and loss. It's a story that serves as a haunting reminder of how drastically life can change, and how the echoes of our past can shape the shadows of our future. Oakland in the 1980s was a city of contrasts. It was a place where the vibrancy of life and the shadows of hardship coexisted in a delicate balance. The city was alive with energy, a melting pot of cultures, ideas, and dreams, yet it was also a place where the harsh realities of urban life were impossible to ignore. Vibrant murals adorned buildings, telling stories of resilience and hope. These murals were more than just art, they were a testament to the community's spirit, a visual narrative of their struggles and triumphs. Each brushstroke was a reminder of the strength and unity that held the community together. Music, a lifeblood of the community, spilled out from homes and car radios, filling the air with soul and rhythm. It was the heartbeat of Oakland, a constant presence that brought people together. From impromptu street performances to family gatherings, music was the thread that wove the community's fabric. But beneath the surface, a darkness simmered. The city was not immune to the challenges that plagued many urban areas during that time. The shadows of poverty, crime, and addiction loomed large, casting a pall over the vibrant life that thrived in the daylight. The crack epidemic had taken hold, casting a shadow over our streets. It was a scourge that tore families apart and left a trail of devastation in its wake. The once bustling neighborhoods were now dotted with abandoned houses, their broken windows a stark reminder of the lives shattered by addiction. Gang violence flared, and the wail of sirens became a familiar soundtrack to our lives. The streets, once filled with the laughter of children, now echoed with the sounds of conflict and chaos. It was a time of fear and uncertainty, where the line between safety and danger was often blurred. Even amidst the turmoil, there was a strong sense of community. Block parties and community gatherings were a testament to the resilience of the people. These events were more than just social gatherings. They were a declaration of solidarity, a way for the community to reclaim their space and their joy. Neighbors looked out for each other. In a city where danger lurked around every corner, the bonds of community were a lifeline. People shared what little they had, offering support and comfort in times of need. It was this spirit of mutual aid that helped many survive the darkest days. We knew the local shop owners by name, and they knew ours. These small businesses were the heart of the community, providing not just goods and services but a sense of belonging. The corner store was a place where stories were shared and friendships were forged. We celebrated victories together and mourned losses as one. Whether it was a community parade or a somber funeral, these moments brought us closer. They were a reminder that despite the challenges, we were in this together. Our shared experiences, both joyous and sorrowful, strengthened the bonds that held us together. Charles, like many of us, wasn't immune to the challenges of growing up in Oakland. He navigated the same streets, faced the same dangers, and shared the same dreams. His story was a reflection of the broader community, a testament to the resilience and determination that defined us. He faced his own share of hardships. The pressures of growing up in a tough environment weighed heavily on him. Yet he persevered, finding ways to rise above the challenges. His journey was marked by moments of struggle, but also by acts of courage and resilience. His father, a Vietnam War veteran, struggled with PTSD and held down odd jobs to make ends meet. The war had left deep scars, both seen and unseen. Despite his struggles, he did his best to provide for his family, working tirelessly to keep them afloat. His mother, a woman of quiet strength, worked tirelessly as a nurse to provide for her family. Her long hours and unwavering dedication were a testament to her love and commitment. She was the backbone of the family, a source of strength and stability in uncertain times. Despite these difficulties, Charles remained a good kid. He was kind-hearted and always willing to lend a hand. His positive attitude and willingness to help others made him a beloved figure in the community. He excelled in school, particularly in math and science. His teachers recognized his potential and encouraged him to pursue his dreams. Education was his ticket to a better future, and he embraced it with determination and enthusiasm. He was a gifted artist, filling notebooks with intricate drawings and sketches. Art was his escape, a way to express his thoughts and emotions. His talent was evident to all who saw his work, and it provided him with a sense of purpose and fulfillment. He had dreams, aspirations for a brighter future. Despite the challenges he faced, he never lost sight of his goals. His hope and determination were a beacon of light in a world often overshadowed by darkness. Charles's story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of hope. The news spread through our community like wildfire, carried on whispers and the grim faces of our neighbors. It was as if a dark cloud had settled over our once peaceful suburb, casting a shadow that seemed impossible to lift. Conversations that once revolved around mundane topics like the weather or weekend plans now took on a somber tone, filled with fear and uncertainty. The air was thick with tension, and every whispered word seemed to carry the weight of the world. The I-580 sniper who had been terrorizing the freeway for weeks had been apprehended. The news footage showed police officers escorting a suspect, a sight that should have brought relief but instead deepened our collective anxiety. The headlines screamed of his capture, but the sense of dread lingered. We had lived in fear for so long that it was hard to believe it was finally over. And to our collective horror, it was Charles Stevens. Charles, the boy who grew up next door, the one who played in our yards and attended our schools. The revelation hit us like a punch to the gut, leaving us reeling and struggling to comprehend the reality of the situation. Disbelief. It was the overwhelming emotion that washed over me. How could someone we knew, someone we trusted, be capable of such heinous acts? The shock was palpable, and it felt as though the ground had been ripped out from under us. Not Charles. It couldn't be. The quiet, artistic boy we knew capable of such calculated violence. It seemed unfathomable. We had seen him grow up, watched him transform from a shy child into a reserved teenager. There were no signs, no warnings that could have prepared us for this revelation. The quiet, artistic boy we knew, capable of such calculated violence. It seemed unfathomable. His love for painting and drawing, his gentle demeanor all seemed to contradict the monstrous acts he was accused of. It was as if we were talking about two different people, and reconciling those two images was nearly impossible. The details of his crimes, revealed in chilling detail by news reports, only deepened the sense of surreal horror. Each new piece of information was like a dagger to the heart, twisting and turning, leaving us gasping for breath. The more we learned, the less we understood, and the more our world seemed to crumble around us. Random shootings on the freeway, drivers and passengers targeted without apparent motive. The randomness of the attacks made them all the more terrifying. It could have been any of us, any of our loved ones caught in the crossfire. The thought was unbearable, and it haunted our every waking moment. Fear had gripped the city, and now we knew the face behind the terror. The sense of vulnerability was overwhelming, and it felt as though we would never feel safe again. Community meetings were held, safety measures were discussed, but nothing seemed to ease the pervasive sense of dread. The police presence in our neighborhood intensified. Patrol cars became a constant fixture, their flashing lights a stark reminder of the darkness that had descended. Officers patrolled the streets, their presence both reassuring and unsettling. It was a strange paradox, feeling both protected and imprisoned by the very measures meant to keep us safe. Patrol cars became a constant fixture, their flashing lights a stark reminder of the darkness that had descended. The once quiet nights were now filled with the hum of engines and the occasional crackle of police radios. It was a new reality, one that we struggled to accept. Reporters swarmed, hungry for any scrap of information, any insight into the mind of the I-580 sniper. They crowded our streets, their cameras and microphones a constant presence. Every detail, every rumor was dissected and broadcasted, feeding the insatiable curiosity of a world desperate for answers. And through it all, we were left to grapple with the unthinkable, trying to find a way to move forward in a world that had been irrevocably changed. The shockwaves of Charles's crimes reverberated through our community, leaving behind a trail of shattered lives. Families of the victims grappled with unimaginable loss, their grief etched on their faces like the lines on an ancient map. Candlelight vigils were held, the soft glow of flickering flames a poignant symbol of hope amidst the darkness. The names of the victims were read aloud, each syllable a solemn reminder of the human cost of Charles's actions. Friends and neighbors struggled to reconcile the Charles we thought we knew with the monster he had become. Had we been blind to his true nature? Were there warning signs we had missed? The questions lingered, unanswered, fueling a sense of collective guilt and confusion. Even now, years later, the pain of that time still lingers. The scars of that trauma remain, a reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of unchecked darkness. Dear Charlie, if you hear this, I am praying for you and I hope that the Lord is in you life. Please, Charlie, know God has forgiven you. If you have not asked for forgiveness from the families of the victims that you killed, please, Charlie, do that. That will cleanse your soul, and just maybe, Charlie, it may bring some peace to the families of your victims. You and your victims' families are in my prayers. I want to thank you so much, my YouTube family, for watching. Please do me a favor and like this video. Leave me a comment about what you thought, and I want to see you back often, so please subscribe. Have a super day. Would Jesus sit beside a man like him, a soul now marked by shadows dim? Would he reach across that prison wall and whisper, "Child, I still hear your call"? Would he remember the boy, not the crime, the dreams lost in the drift of time? Yes. I believe he already knew the pain, the cracks that Charlie grew through. He loved him still, before, despite. He saw the dark and called for light, and if there's hope for one so far, there's hope for each of us, right where we are.